Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to talk about some of my most anticipated spring releases. So every time I do these videos, I always say this. Spring for me, in my head, has always been March, April, and May. And I know that it doesn't actually, like, spring doesn't actually occur until I know this, alright? But in my head, March, April, and May is springtime. Okay, so these are books that are coming out within that time period. So for March, there's only one book that's being released that I'm really excited about, and that is The Women's War by Jenna Glass, which comes out on March 5th. And this is going to be the first book in a adult high fantasy series, and it's described as a high fantasy feminist epic, which is like really the only part that I need to know that much about. And in this world, a spell gives women the ability to control their own fertility, and that is what starts the ball in motion of overthrowing this patriarchal society where women are treated as just machines to produce children. Sometimes there's parts of our world that are like that. So I am very excited about this and the story. There's a lot more to the story, but when I heard that, and it just being this like fantasy story about women taking control and ownership of their bodies, I was like, that's all I need, thank you. I'll have that, thank you. Then there are a plethora of books coming out in April. I didn't even realize the other day I was actually going to ask on Twitter, like, guys, what books are coming out soon? And I'm like, wait, there's plenty here to entertain you. You don't need to ask the people. There's too much here already that you're not going to be able to read or get to very soon. So, all of my tears. The first book comes out on April 2nd, and that is The Devouring Gray by Christine Lynn Herman. And this takes place in a town in rural New York State, and there is apparently a beast in the forest, and it's loosening its bonds. That's the start of it, right? So I'm a big fan of fairy tale woods with the capital W. We've talked about this before. So just that setting in and of itself, I'm like, yes, please, thank you. And then we have our main character being new to this school in Upper New York, but she is descended from one of the founders, so people kind of treat her a little weird. It might be like a boarding school situation, which is another cool setting. And then she meets some other kids from founding families, and they apparently have like powers, so they can wreak havoc. So that's fun. And the group of them have to uncover a mystery of why people keep disappearing, because then people are sort of like blaming them, and everything kind of goes from there. It sort of reminds me of a really horrible but great movie called The Covenant, which was about Salem witches, so not quite the same, but it sounds kind of like that, and so my like teenage brain is like, yes, give me it. I need it so bad. And that's a lot of things thrown in a pot that I really enjoy and just cooked, simmered together, so I think I might enjoy this one. Then we have a book that I've already read that also comes out on April 2nd, and that is Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. Now, I didn't love this as much as I was hoping to, but it's still highly anticipated because, one, I really want to post my review for it so that I can talk to people about it, and two, I want people to read it so I can talk to people about it. So it's not a book that I loved as much as I thought I was going to, but I still have thoughts about it, and I still want to talk to a lot of people about it. I'm still excited for the rest of the series, so look forward to this review coming closer to April, probably the end of this month, so you can get my thoughts. I've also done discussion, don't you worry. Then on April 4th, we have A Holy Sister by Mark Lawrence. This is one that I'm like, for sure will not disappoint me at all, which is like really great because lately my anticipated releases haven't been fulfilling quite the need that I need them to, but I'm not worried about this one because this is the third book in the series and the first two have been amazing. So this is the Book of the Ancestor series, which I've talked about a lot before. It follows magical assassin nuns, and it's great. And I cannot wait to be reunited with my children. So excited. I'll link my reviews on the screen because I can't be coherent about this series at this particular moment. Then on April 23rd, we have A Storm of Locusts by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is the second book in the, what's her series called? The Sixth World is the name of the series, but it's an urban fantasy series that takes place in a post-apocalyptic America where Native American folklore is the basis for everything. So the creatures and the folklore and the myths and everything are so different, and our main character is a monster hunter, as most urban fantasy people are. But I really enjoy this series. There's a different spin on it than a lot of urban fantasy series that I've read. I really enjoy the dynamic between the main character and like the potential like love interest, but also the main character and like some of the villains and stuff. Really fun, really good, fast paced, still has the like urban fantasy fun that you're used to if you've read a lot of urban fantasy, but it has a new and interesting twist on it, so I'm excited to see how this series develops. And on April 30th, we have Lady Hotspur by Tessa Gratton. Now this is a companion book to The Queens of Innis Lear, which I read late last year and was, again, not a book that I like loved, but I still really liked it and it stuck with me. And I'm intrigued, but this is not a sequel, so there's not going to be the same characters in this book as in the last book, but it's set in the same world. I think it's even a different timeline, so it's not even around the same time as the characters that we saw in that book. And while The Queens of Innis Lear was a King Lear retelling, Shakespeare's King Lear, this is a Shakespeare's Henry IV retelling, apparently. So I'm intrigued by what she does with her characters, how kind of like dark the world is, and maybe now that we have like the basis of the world, we'll get more plot stuff going on with this, even though it's, again, not the same characters and stuff, but I enjoyed the first book in the world enough to continue on with the other books as she creates more in this world, which I think is her intention. And then lastly, we have a few books coming out in May. The first book is Dark Shores by Danielle Jensen, which comes out on May 7th. And this is a pirate book. And I know that I should technically like know more and care more, but I don't really. This is just a pirate book that actually sounds promising to me because I've heard really good things about Danielle Jensen's other series. The first book in which I'll be reading sometime this year because it's on my TBR. But she did a whole book about, she did a series about trolls, which people were like, it's cooler than it sounds, and people said it was really good. So I'm very intrigued about her take on pirates, especially if I read that book first and really enjoy her like writing and stuff. So this sounds promising in a way that a lot of pirate books don't to me because I've been burned too many times by pirate books. So it takes a little bit more for me now to really be invested in them. And lastly, on May 21st, we have King's Bane by Claire Legrand. This is the second book in the Furyborn series. I'm not actually sure if that's the name of the series, but the first book is Furyborn. I'll leave my Furyborn review on the screen. But I really enjoy this first book, and Claire Legrand has become one of my really favorite authors, I would say. Like, she's climbing in esteem. I'm pretty certain I will at least read everything that she is putting out from here on out because I've just been really enamored with everything. There's really interesting main character and villain dynamics in this world, and there's two timelines, but there's things about the timelines that are intersecting, and I just really enjoy it, and I enjoy the female characters, and they're just very complex, and there's gray there, and I just really, really enjoy it. So I'm very excited about this second book in the series and what's going to happen with a lot of these characters. We got a really good foundation with the first book, and I'm very intrigued to know more. So that is it for all the books that I'm really excited about for the spring season. Comment down below, let me know some of your most anticipated spring releases, if there's anything that you really feel like I forgot about, or just don't know about, or you think would really appeal to me. Those in particular I would like to hear. Even though, again, I'm supposed to be prioritizing my TBR, which I am. I'm doing a good job. Update to come in like June. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all you guys soon. Bye!